Welcome to our Bazaar, a podcast that chats with artists of all types to explore the depths of creativity. Brought to you by the Alternative Gallery. We'll be releasing new episodes every Wednesday with bonus episodes dropping randomly. If you like what you're hearing, you can support this podcast by going to thealternativegallery.com and clicking on the podcast tab. I'm your host, Brandon Wonder, creative director of the Alternative Gallery, a nonprofit arts organization in Allentown, PA, run through the efforts of dedicated volunteers. On this episode of our Bazaar, we're chatting with Doug Trachtman, a.k.a. LavaLampBebop, a pop artist and the self-described Sharpie King from the Lehigh Valley. You can check out Doug's work on Instagram at LavaLampBebop. Doug works in a bunch of different mediums, which we're about to hear all about. Doug, welcome to our Bazaar.
Thanks for having me. Wow, I kind of feel like I should also be doing a voice like you were kind of doing. Like, I'm Doug. Look at me. I'm on the podcast.
Mr. Like Bebop.
Yeah, you could call me that. That's fine.
I like that. You ever been called Mr. Bebop before?
I prefer Professor. Either's fine.
They only call your father Mr. Bebop.
No, he's Dr. Bebop.
Dr. Bebop. Oh, I like that. Well, I see you're feeling better, man.
Yeah, I was down with the flu for like 9 days. And that was a bummer, but now I'm not, and that's like the opposite of a bummer. That's exciting.
It is exciting because we had to postpone it for a few days because I said I wanted us to have some drinky drinks, some beers, while we had this colorful conversation. Yeah,
I mean, it just allowed me to harness my thoughts and my creativity, and hopefully I'll be able to put on even better performance, than if I was sick.
Well, and you're all juiced up. You get that special can there, the Godzilla can.
Yeah, PBR. If you want to sponsor that would be nice.
Yeah, we'll take some money from PBR.
We're just drinking a beer. Yeah.
Well, we were talking about in the main gallery before we started recording how PBR likes to do collabs, like with the artists, different artists on the boxes and cans.
Yeah, I would love if they wanted me to be on their beer can. So that would be really nice. I got to design my first beer label earlier. I want to say this year, but it's last year because now we're in a new year of 2026. But in the end of 2025, I got to design a beer label at Bonn Brewing in Bethlehem, and that was super cool. And the beer was even it was named after me, which was even cooler. So hopefully I could do another beer label someday.
That is super cool. Yeah, I saw that you were doing that, and that's a cool place too, so I'm glad you guys linked up. Do they want you to do any more?
So, as far as I know, they used to have all out-of-house artists do all their labels, and then at some point they decided they wanted a more consistent brand image, and they started doing them in-house, and I do like all their in-house designs. They're all kind of a cool design, but then Sam, the owner, was like, let's try having an artist again, so I don't know about more, but they did say they were planning on making more of the Doug beer and more of my label, so if they do, that'd be awesome. I'll definitely go get more. They're delicious. I don't get any money from you buying them, so don't think that I'm getting more money, but it does give me personal satisfaction.
And that is still kind of a commercial.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little bit of a commercial. There's going to be a lot of plugs for different things I like, because it's my episode, so really right. I get to do the plugs and the things like that.
I like it, man. And, it's Bonn Place's independent spot, so it's good. It's a good thing to support.
Yeah, we like independent things.
That's right. It's funny. Some of the artists that I talk to, you're kind of known as the guy that always has a backpack full of markers.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely makes sense because I do usually have a backpack full of markers. I didn't bring it with me tonight because, I did consider bringing art materials to draw while we talked, but then I decided not to just because I was like, we'll do it different tonight. Yeah. But yeah, having a backpack is a great way to carry things. Goes right on your back. I got two. If you only have like one arm or shoulder, it could be harder, but I have two shoulders, fits right on there. And then there's plenty of space for markers. I usually use Sharpies. I pretty much only use Sharpies. They're very colorful and bright, and I like that, and they fit right in the backpack, and so that's my reputation is accurate.
So not only do we now know what materials you like to use, but anyone who's unfamiliar with backpacks has a bit more understanding.
Yeah, shout out Jansport. I want to say in the past their backpack quality were higher. This is a backpack I got in college. It's pretty good. It's lasted pretty long at this point. I've been out of college for 5 years or so. So yeah, if you're gonna get a backpack, I would recommend them.
I like how this is just becoming a backpack conversation. Because I got like 5 right here, different camera bags and shit like that.
Oh, so you're kind of a backpack expert as well.
Packhacker.com is a good one if you want to check out some really get, under the hood of what these backpacks got going on, so to speak.
Art Bazaar and Backpack Podcast.
Well, look at my office. I have so much stuff. I got to put it somewhere.
That's true. You do have so much stuff in this office, which I really do like because I'm a maximalist in a way. Like I like having lots of things to look at. That's the same way I have where I live.
That makes sense because your art is often very busy.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like I recently watched a coworker's dog for a week, and she has this beautiful giant house, but all the walls are like blank white walls, and I'm just like looking at them. I'm like, they need things on them. I could just draw on the walls, but I can't do that. Yeah, I really like a busy wall with a lot of stuff to draw your eye to. I mean, that's just always been my style. Other people like it differently, and that's all right.
That's okay. You kind of remind me of what's that actress and artist, Kate Mucci?
Oh, my Coochie, she plays the ukulele and stuff.
Yes, her.
Yeah, she was on Scrubs.
She's always
Classic.
going around
Shout out
scribbling.
Scrubs. Haven't watched it in years. Not really into them like rebooting it. We don't need to reboot Scrubs. Come on, we did Scrubs. Like it's good. Let's not do more Scrubs.
I know, and it's strange. It's like the exact same group of people still working at the same place. Like,
I mean, doctors do work at hospitals for a long time, but it's like, I don't know. Our society right now, we're really obsessed with nostalgia because, I don't know, it's a weird time for media, and nostalgia is like really big, and some of it's good, but a lot of it's just like, it's fun for a second and then it's too much.
Well, I think maybe we're just longing for the time when society was slightly more functional.
Yeah, or at least it felt that way.
It felt that way.
I am excited though. Malcolm in the Middle coming back, just 4 episodes,
yes.
Not overstaying its welcome. A 4-episode revival. Just a little brief, introduction into how they are later in life. That's like my go-to comfort show. Malcolm in the Middle. Watched it multiple times. Great show. Shout out Malcolm in the Middle.
I didn't realize it was only 4 episodes.
Yeah, which I think is a smart strategy in that it doesn't like overstay its welcome, and the actors don't feel like they have to sign on for like multiple things, and also it might not even be good because they're like adults and stuff. Like being a child actor is totally different than being an adult actor, because as an adult, like people can actually criticize you for being bad at it. Yeah. As a child, like if you suck, they'll just be like, "Oh, he's cute, he's a kid."
Oh, you tried his best. So speaking of that, the actor who's replacing Dewey, the youngest sibling, people have on the internet pointed out that he actually looks more like Dewey than the actual actor.
Yeah, I mean he does. He has that Dewey look.
It's striking.
But the original actor, he didn't want to come back, which is totally cool. Being a child actor, you might not want to do it as an adult.
Sure. All right, so overall, you're a pretty prolific artist. I always see you working on stuff, whether it's like a sticker or a wheat paste or like you're one of those artists that always seems to be creating.
I have, you could say is a problem. I don't know. You could look at it not that way as well. But if I'm not doing something I like, I sort of equate sometimes my self-worth esteem to like the art I'm making. And if I go like too long without making art, I feel like I lose my identity, which is definitely something I'm working on in therapy. But it's like, I haven't made any art in 2 weeks. Like, who am I? But it does keep me busy, and it keeps me working on stuff I like. So there is an upside,
Of course. I mean, that's a great outlet to have. And, I think that's where I say a lot of times where artists are lucky because we figured out what we love.
That's true.
And a lot of people, they never found a thing.
As a child, you're exposed to all these like hero stories where the kid, when they're young, they like find something they love and they get obsessed with it, and then they get really good at it. And as a kid, I wanted something to really love and be obsessed with. And I didn't feel like I had one. Like I was into soccer a little bit. I was like kind of into video games, but I was never like a big video game person. I always wanted something to be obsessed with, and I wasn't until in high school I started playing guitar, and I like really got obsessed into that, and I liked being obsessed with it. Like having something that feels like a purpose that you're always going to get better at, like that's really exciting. It feels like you can track your progress linearly, and I really like that. So when I got into art and later in my life, like I really like that I can just obsess over it and it's never done. Like you can always do something different, something new, and it keeps me occupied.
Yeah, and you work in like a lot of different mediums, like I said earlier. One of the big ones though are the postage labels, which have kind of become the centerpiece of the culture of street art.
Yeah, The first time I was introduced to the USPS mailer labels to use as stickers was actually from a non-street artist friend who just like had some and was drawing on them. And then I like kind of forgot about it for a while. And then at some point when I got into the street art scene kind of in Philadelphia, stickers, that like popped up again because that's like a big thing. And now whenever I do it and I show it to people who don't know it, they're like, oh, that's so clever. You came up with that. I'm like, no, like people have been doing this for like a long time. I'm just the follower. But yeah, like they are fun. They're cool. They're free. It's like minorly illegal, like barely. Barely. Please don't come after me.
What is illegal? It's everything's legal now in 2026.
It's like you're not supposed to use them for anything but mailing. Like maybe I will ship something on them one day. Actually, like I have hundreds of them, and only one time in my life did I ever actually consider using one to ship something, and I did. I did. But then I learned it has to go priority, which is like a little bit more expensive, and I was like, oh, like they are called priority mail labels. I probably should have known that.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I never even thought about it. But yeah, they're great. You can draw on them or do other things and trade them around, put them up.
Sticker exchanges.
Yeah,
that's a big one.
I always love doing that. Oh, sticker exchange. I love getting other people's stickers. You're just like, look at all our little colorful pieces of paper, and then I'm going to take them home, and I'm going to look at them. Oh, my God, I'm going to look at them. It's going to be so great. And then I'll be like, look at all these cool little pieces of paper I have. And it's just like that like internal sense of collecting little trinket things, even though they're stickers.
I know you like to show off your stickers online. I see that a lot. The ones that you get from friends and other artists.
Oh, because I mean, they deserve to be shown off. They make cool stuff. Like people make lots of cool things, and they should be shown off. And if I have like a little bit of a platform where I can show some of my friends, like that's a good thing, I think.
Hell yeah. And that's one of the cool things about artists is they're always trading in that way. And it's like, man, imagine if society, outside of money, of course, operated more in that way where you can just, you know, hey, I need this box of cereal. Here's a fucking, I don't know, here's a sticker.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. I would have so many boxes of cereal because I have a lot of stickers. When I first started making art more consistently, I was totally against selling my art. Like people would be like, "Oh, you should sell this. Like this is cool." I'd be like, "No, like that's going to ruin the perfect like beautiful artistic intent of just making something to make it." And I held on to that for like over a year, maybe a year and a half or so, until eventually like I just had a lot of drawings, and it's like, I don't need all these drawings. I guess I could sell some of them. And then over time, like my opinion did change. I still kind of feel like if, not that this really would exist, but if we existed in a world where, you know, I didn't have to sell art to make any money, like, you know, money wasn't an object, I would just give my art away. Like, that would be the best. Just give it to people. Like, someone says, I love that. And you're like, well, it's yours now. Like, enjoy it. Like,
what a world.
That would be the goal. Like, I would love for people to just have the art that they like and not be held back by money. Like, that would be awesome.
You know, and that's interesting you mentioned that about not wanting to sell your art at first, because that's a common thing I hear from a lot of artists who are just starting. They kind of have this concept in their mind that they're a sellout if they start accepting money for their work. And I'm like, you getting money to do exactly what you want to do and not compromising is the furthest thing from being a sellout.
Yeah, I mean, when you're not like in the art world, you don't like, I guess, see all the perspectives or different things. And it felt like very much like my little hobby that I can protect. And if I show it, you know, to too many people or give it away, like it kind of gives away the original intent. But I don't know. I was going to make the art anyway, and I'm obsessed with it. So it's not like if I don't have it, I'm going to stop. Like, I'm just going to keep doing it. So I kind of realized it was silly over time. But it was, you know, my views on art have and the things I make definitely changed, which I think is healthy, you know.
What artists kind of like inspire you and shape the direction that you took on early on?
So and still my current work, a lot of it is inspired by my parents. Both are like, they're like pretty big art collectors, not like anything super like fancy kind of art, but like lots of pop art, folk art. Just like we would go to all these little art fairs like in Manayunk and Harrisburg and all kinds of places in New York, just because my parents liked getting and looking at art. So I would see all this stuff, and my dad and my mom, they really like colorful, bright stuff, which is what I like now. So being exposed to a lot of that kind of stuff really shaped my taste. They were very into this artist, Romero Brito, who I really like and am inspired by his art. He's like a major sellout at this point, like to the point that I really don't like him as a person. Like he has his art on cop cars in like Florida and stuff. It's like, come on. I do think like his creations are like, to me, are really cool, but I do think he's like kind of a douche.
He took it too far.
Yeah, definitely. And then later on in like my teens, I got really into, only because I saw it on the internet, I thought it was cool, was Kid Robot, the like toy art company. And I wasn't even really into the toys. I just thought like the shirts and hats they made were of the toys were cool. So I started like getting that stuff, and that was in New York, and we would go to the Kid Robot store, and that was so cool. So like different like pop kind of stuff like that. I was also, as a kid, I was into manga, and I like tried to draw manga-ish kind of characters, but that was never really my like style that I could do well. I like the imaginativeness of it, of like the different characters and outfits and stuff, but that wasn't like, I kind of do what I feel like works for my style, which is a little simpler. So like I wasn't as good as like line heavy stuff like that.
Do you find a lot of the artists that you're inspired by now or people that you work with?
I would say a significant amount of the art that I am like regularly really into are from friends, acquaintances, colleagues, you know, things like that. Like if anything, I think it's so cool that I'm like a few years ago when I got into, you know, making art and meeting people, like all the people that you see originally are the like the seniors of the community. Like they're the people that everyone knows who make really cool things. And then over time, like as you ingratiate yourself, you kind of, you know, become one of those people as well. But like you're, you know, becoming friends with all the other people. And that's like a really special thing. Like someone you looked up to and you're like, I could never get to that level. And then you're like kind of, you know, a peer of theirs. So like I'm really grateful that I have so many cool art friends.
Yeah, you're in the club now, buddy.
Yeah, I just hope they don't kick me out. I do not pay the membership dues.
No, you're well liked, man. You're a beloved artist and dude. People always speak highly of you. And you're involved in so much. You're always doing different things. Talk about some of the stuff that you get into. Different events and vending stuff, whether you're a part of it or running it.
So not as much in 2025, but in 2024, I tried, I did. I got really into vending my art in different spots because, like, I tried it a few times. I tried it a few times at, like, local, like, I don't know. They're, like, lower than craft markets in the Lehigh Valley. I don't even know what you call them. They take place in, like, fire halls, and they're like mostly like people selling like custom tumblers and like really low quality jewelry, and like I was the only like original like illustrator or that kind of artist there. I did 2 of those. That was my first time ever vending, and they were very fine. Like I didn't sell that much, and it wasn't like super into it. And then I had seen the Philly punk rock flea market, and I did that twice. This is still 2023, and that was good. It was better. It was a lot, though. Like, it was so many people and a lot of work to drive down there and set everything up. And so, like, that was maybe the opposite extreme for the level I was at. And then eventually I found some, like, middle ground vending things. And I was like, oh, this is, like, pretty cool. Maybe I'll try doing this more often. So 2024 was my year of kind of vend everything and see what works, see what doesn't work. So I did a whole lot of stuff in the Lehigh Valley and Philadelphia area mostly. I did a few things in northern Pennsylvania, but I don't venture there as much. So showing up and vending art is like, it's work, but it's like a good way to get yourself out there, meet people, do things, like have your work seen. I've realized over time, even though like you might be having a terrible time because you're not selling anything, like it's still worth getting your art in front of people that wouldn't necessarily see it. Like, little things add up over time. So like that's important. I like to show up at friends events. I go to a lot of music events, and like I've sort of ingratiated myself into the music scene where bands will have me do art for them or flyers or stickers or anything, as well as I'll vend at music shows and stuff. I feel like there's a lot of overlap in the community, so I try to get around to different events. And one of my, I mean, it's kind of more recent, like, things I tell myself is, like, just show up. Because There's tons of times in my life where I've just stayed home or I've gotten stoned and I've done nothing. And it's like, that's fun sometimes. That's good. But like when you do it all the time, it's like it becomes a bad habit. And it's like, just show up to events more often. Event opportunities are going to come up. You're going to meet new people. Like things are usually better if you show up to events. Obviously, sometimes it still might suck, but like it's better overall if you
And
get out.
obviously, you still get stoned before you go.
Sometimes, not always. If anything, like more recently, it's better to do it after.
I would say before and after, but to each their own.
Depends on what's going on.
But you're right about vending. Like it's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
It's so much social energy in the way that not everyone does this, but I really try to make a point to like address most of the people who come by my table. I feel like it's better. I don't know. Like
even just like a hello as you're walking by.
It might help sales. It might not. It might just make you look more friendly. So like I try and address people, and then I sort of end up turning into a character of myself where I just say the same things over and over about my art. I'm like, look, it's so colorful and fun, and these
Your
are the
spiel.
things I do. And then at the end of the day, I'm like going insane because I've just said the same thing all day. But I do like doing it, honestly, and everyone who knows me knows this. My favorite part of art vending is going home. It's like the thought that I did something today, I achieved something, I was at a place, I did some work, and now I can go home and I can just not be there and I can relax, and that's the best.
That's a big win. You got out, you did something, but you're back where you really want to be.
Exactly. Like it's a better feeling than just saying like I stayed home all day and I didn't accomplish anything. Like I like that I did something and now I can be home and not have to worry about stuff.
Why didn't you do as many vending events this past year?
So in 2025, I was a lot more selective. Like I did certain things, didn't do other things that I felt like didn't work. And honestly, I think it was a good change because I'm now sort of at the level where I've exposed myself enough that people are wanting commissions and custom projects and things like that. So I don't feel like I need to every weekend be out there vending, which is great to do sometimes, but it gets exhausting quickly when you're doing it every weekend.
Yeah.
So it's nice when I can spend time working on like custom projects that will make me money instead of just being out in public and like not knowing if it's going to be a good day, bad weather, good weather, like, and have to worry about all that stuff every time.
Well, that's a good place to be, dude. Nice balance there, and it sounds like in 2024 you probably burnt yourself out a little bit doing the vending shit.
Yeah, I mean, definitely over the summer. I vended, it was over 30 times through the year, which, like if you think about it, it's like in your head you might first think that's not that much, but it's mostly weekends. So like you have 52 weekends, and some days I probably did a Saturday and a Sunday, like especially in the summer, the heavy months. So like summer I probably did 25 of those 30 events or something. Like it was a lot.
So half the year you had no weekends to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's like we're making prints and stickers of your art that you've already made comes in handy because I didn't need to make new stuff. Of course I want to make new stuff, but if you can coast on the old stuff for a little bit, it's like okay, like I don't want to, but I will. It's necessary sometimes.
You do a lot here with not just the alternative gallery, but artists who are involved here, and you're one of the few artists that we kind of like have here on a regular basis who doesn't have a studio. Do you have like a regular studio, or with what you do you really need one? I'm curious. Like what's your studio?
I don't have like a regular studio. I have a room that like is sort of a dining room, but like is where I make my art until I sometimes will clear off the table and use it for other things. But I mean, I don't work huge that often. I do have a space, like a basement area, if I'm working on something really big, that could be useful. But I definitely I like working sometimes in different places. Like I like working where there's light or where things are going on. So it's nice sometimes to like have a somewhat portable art setup. I mean, depending on what it is.
Yeah, I was curious because we just did this toy show in December, of which you did 3 pieces for. You did like, what would you describe those as, sculptures?
I call them sculptures. I don't know what they are.
There's
like
no
they're
rules. You call them whatever the fuck you want.
Decorated pieces of plastic. Like I didn't sculpt anything. They're 3-dimensional objects that were like purchased and then decorated with paint, tape, googly eyes, stickers, like all kinds of different things.
Is that the first time you've done pieces like that?
So at least 2 of those were they're all 2024, except for one might be 2025, something like that. They're not new. But yeah, those were the first time I did 3-dimensional things, and I really like them. I haven't gotten back into it just because, I don't know, it's like a little different mode and they're a little time consuming, but I definitely would like to. People really like those pieces and they're like super cool. I don't think they're the kind of thing that sells as much. So from like a financial perspective, it's not something I'm like jumping to do, but my art generally isn't motivated by financial decisions, like occasionally, but it's usually just like whatever I get the inkling to do. If anything, if someone gives me a commission, I'm more likely to put that on the back and jump to all the impulse projects I can until I run out of those, and then I'll be like, fine, I'll do this commission that someone's paying me to do.
Dude,
like,
why are artists always like that? That's like a common thread.
Commissions are scary because it's like
you don't
all my art is just for me, whatever I want, and a commission, you like know someone's eyes are on it immediately, and
you can't create selfishly in the same way. Realistically,
no matter what I make, they'll probably want, because they only commission me because they like what I do. So as long as I do what I do, like, they'll like it. But you definitely get in your head more because you're like, oh, it has to be this way or that way.
Yeah. Mikey was saying the same thing in the last episode about doing commissions. That, you know, especially if he's not super into it, he keeps putting it off.
Yeah, I have had one for a very long time, and it's for a store, and I spoke to the owner over the holidays, and he's like, "Oh, no worries, like, you know, everything's busy." But now we're like post holidays, and I really should be doing it. So hopefully, I don't have time this weekend. Maybe next week.
Well, and you do a lot of collabs too. You just did a piece recently with Jay Echeverria, right?
Yes, and I did a second one as well that will come out maybe tomorrow or the next day. I really like just like, you know, when art tends to be on the more solitary side with creating, and I originally got into creative things with music, and music, for at least the way I did music, was all about jamming with other people, like seeing what multiple people could create out of something. And when I make art with other people, it kind of feels like sometimes like we're in a little band together, and it's like, this is what our art band would look like. So I like working with other people because it really takes you somewhere that neither of you would have done yourself, but then you did together. So I really like doing collabs, and it makes something new, and it's fun, and takes me outside of what I'd normally do.
That's a really cool way of describing it. It's kind of like a band, you know, because I come from the film world, and it's a very similar thing where it's kind of a group project. You're collaborating with other people, not just yourself, where I think a lot of maybe painters or illustrators are just doing it solo. And I would imagine it's kind of a totally different process, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially when I work with Jay, it's much more improvisation based, which I like. It's kind of like I look at Jay and Jay just like goes, and they never stop to think. So I like try to do that. I'm like, oh, like let's just copy Jay, like not literally copy them, but like copy their style. Just go. And so it makes me create differently, which I really like. And the last two pieces, we've done collaborations where we're in the same room, we're like passing pieces off to each other. These ones, they just gave them to me, started, and they're like, finished them. So these ones I was doing myself, but I still treated them in that same way where I'm like kind of thinking how Jay would do it and how I'm going to add on to it in their version.
You're here a lot for Connected by Craft, and that's kind of one of the things that I see coming out of that are collab pieces, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's always a fun thing because, like I said, a lot of artists kind of create in a more solitary environment. So it's definitely good to get out and meet people. And I would say kind of the reason I feel like I am to the level of success, whatever you think that is, that I am, is because of how much like, and I don't like the word networking because it sounds too businessy. It's like, I'm not trying to be all businessy, but like, no, you know, making friends with other people, talking to people, like you just get more opportunities, you get to learn more things. Like there is a lot to be said about that. Like I try to do it in a non-underhanded businessy way, like give people stickers because the stickers are fun. Everyone likes that. Like
everyone loves stickers.
Just making a connection with someone like has benefited me long-term in like a lot of ways that I never would have expected. So show up, make art with friends, meet people, things like that if you can.
Doug is dropping some knowledge and some truth here, which I love. And you said you do show flyers too, right?
Yeah, I recently did one for a friend's band who is up in Boston. He used to be a Lehigh student in the Lehigh Valley, but now he graduated. So I did one for his band. I would love to do more. Creating for a show flyer is a little different to me because it's like in the middle of art and design. Like you need, obviously there's a big part about legibility of the information, making sure the information's prominent. And that's a little bit outside of like what I normally do. So it makes me think about it a little differently. But I think it's like a fun project to work on something a little bit different like that. And it also goes along with music. And I love that. So,
well, one of the reasons I asked you about show flyers is I have been meaning to ask you about something, but I keep forgetting. And I'm going to describe to you what it is first. So I want to hold this event here, which is pretty much the way I describe it, a show and tell for artists. And it's kind of inspired by, like, a lot of the coolest documentaries I've watched or books I've read have been someone that's put it right in my hands directly and said, check this out. You got to check this out, right? Mm-hmm. So I would love to do an event here. Maybe it's once a month, every other month. I don't know how often, but I want to do one where we get together. It's a free event here where creatives of all types can come and hang out and say, you got to play this video game. You got to watch this. This fucking album changed my life.
Oh, that is kind of cool. Like putting people on to new things, but in person, making it social.
Yes.
I will say I have a really bad habit of when people tell me to like watch or listen or like do participate in something like a creative project, I'll be like, yeah, sure, I'll get to that, and then I'll like never do it. Yeah, watch that show, watch this movie. I'm like, yeah, you told me now, I can't. But like I really should.
Is that like the rebel in you?
I don't know. There's something about me like as soon as someone tells me, I'm like, no, I can't do that now. Sorry.
I can get behind that, man. I can get behind that.
But I do like that idea.
So I guess I'm asking, would you be willing to design a poster for that?
I mean, sure. I feel like you got me on this podcast just so I couldn't refuse. It's kind of the proposing at a baseball game situation is the way I'm feeling right now.
Well, I think we're both here to plug some stuff.
Shout out Jansport.
We could talk about the details, but I mean, I thought it would be a good idea to discuss because, I mean, what do you think of that idea generally, though?
No, I think, and I was just at an event the other day where it wasn't a great event per se, but it was this Club Real World is this new thing being put on by the person from Love's Devotee in Bethlehem who like did music and art and stuff, and some other people, and like the point is to Club Real World, like get into the real world, get people around you who are real and not like be on the internet all the time. So I think myself and like a lot of other people are really just craving more and more social interaction. Yes. The internet's becoming like more and more poisoned.
Yes.
So I'm always up for like more, personal interaction where people can actually like be people and not just internet things. I
agree. And that's obviously part of the reason why we want to do this. And it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. And we're focusing a lot on new programming right now. And it's stuff like, free things on weeknights when there's not as much going on and people want to get out and do some stuff. And I think it's quite different. I don't see anything like that being done. And I think it's a really cool way to turn people on to stuff they might not know about.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. If everyone brings like, this is an artist that I really like, and this is a band that I really like. And like, obviously you're not going to like everything, but it's good to know about more stuff. And maybe there is something that you're really going to like from all that stuff.
And we want it to be fun. We don't want it to be like a book club where you leave and there's homework and you have to come back and, give your assessment on it. Nothing like that, man.
But is there going to be like an essay section or something like that?
I mean, there is a test at the very end.
Okay. Well, that's important. You don't want to make it just like easy for everyone. There's got to be some boundaries.
And the test is $250 per person. And you can't leave till you finish.
Paid test. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, and we actually need number 3 pencils here. It's alternative.
Do they sell number 3 pencils?
I don't even know what the fuck makes a number 2 pencil different from a number 1 or any other number.
Do they have number 1 pencils?
I don't know.
I've never.
I would guess. Why would they just call it number 2? Is it some kind of underhanded joke that no one ever thought to look into?
That brings me to the point that I know nothing about art supplies or materials. I go into Blick and they have all these types of like pencils and pens and markers.
Well,
and
I think the Sharpie King needs to hear from the Pencil King on this one.
Do you think there is a Pencil King?
I don't know, man. I think you got some homework now, buddy.
Like I have called myself the Sharpie King. It's what it says on my Instagram thing, but I am against monarchies and monarchical systems of hierarchy. Like that's not what I'm about. It's just a catchy name. Like, let's not read too much into that.
I'm glad you brought that up because I have to say there's only one king in this country, and it's Burger King.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that. You can play the Burger King ad now.
Tired of having it their way? Have it your way at Burger King. Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce. Special orders don't upset us. All we ask is that you let us serve it your way. Yeah! Canada. It just tastes better.
So, speaking of No Kings, I know you've done some No Kings pieces, and you do some socially, some pieces revolving around social issues.
Yeah. I really hate making political art or anything like that. Like, I wish I didn't feel compelled to. It's only because, like,
why are
I
you?
feel like I need to say something.
Yeah,
like, sometimes,
of course.
like, my art would all just be like fun, silly stuff in like a perfect ideal world where I didn't have to worry about any of those things. But it's like, otherwise people are just going to make like bad AI generated like anti-Trump things. And it's like, come on, do we really need to do that? Like, let me just draw something stupid for you. So yeah, I have made a few things kind of saying stuff. I, for a long time, like would have rather kept my artist like, image a little neutral. It's more commercial. But
fuck that.
At some point it's like, you just get tired of like walking a line or like not saying things. And it's like, I could draw something cool that other people will relate to and like people will see and it'll hopefully make them excited about not, agreeing with certain things or whatever. So I definitely have. I kind of err away from it, but those ones are also good to make as stickers because then you can put them everywhere and then like people see your message and they'll get angry at you and that's like you kind of won.
Well, and it's saying something too that someone like you that's so, fun loving and you just, you enjoy what you do that you feel compelled to say these things. I mean, it kind of does offer some sort of statement on where we are.
I mean, I am a very politically conscious person. Like I'm
Good.
fairly well read. Like I have an issue where I really like being up to date on current events, even though it like destroys my mental health. And I'm like, you shouldn't know these things, but you know all these things.
Yeah, but it's important to know where we're at.
But it
though.
is good to know things. And like, then sometimes I tell other people and then it makes them sad. And I'm like, I shouldn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
They can't handle reality right now.
But yeah, I mean, there are important things to be said. If anything, like it's good to know the things, but sometimes it's too much, and you're like, I need a release from all this knowledge, so I make it into an art piece here or there, and like the reality of a lot of things seems really bad. And I work in a social service agency, like I work helping people, so the government is directly affecting my work and a lot of helping people and things like that.
I want to ask you here. What role do you think artists can play? Maybe not should, because art is very wide-reaching. But what role do you think artists can play in times like this? You felt the need to speak up, because I feel like artists saying something can have an influence, an impact in some way.
I mean, art is kind of the default backdrop of a lot of people's lives without them really thinking about it. Music, film, TV, visual art, like it's all over, it's everywhere. And if artists aren't making, political, ethical, moral statements ever, like it's just a vacuum of kind of vapidness. Not that every other art piece has to be those things. Like it certainly shouldn't.
Sure.
But like people should say things, especially in creative ways. And I think even in not so obvious ways, like there's a new artist, I don't know if he's new, but there's an artist I was recently turned on to in Philly who is a street artist who makes like realistic street signs and bolts them to real street signs so they look like they're real street signs. And a lot of them are very outspoken. And I think even like, not even just like the sign itself, but like the thought of like, I'm gonna make art on a sign and put it up and make it look real. Like that's a creative thought that I think a non-artist might not have. Like it's subverting things in a strategic way a lot of the ways. Like the artist, whether you call yourself an artist or not, like someone being creative to, fight the powers that be in a way that they're not so obvious, a way that they're not going to predict, is kind of an artistic thing in a way. You could say art is just this visual thing or this film thing, but like art can be a lot more abstract in that like this strategy to go after this thing is like in a way could be art too.
No, you're absolutely right, man. That's very well put. And that's part of the reason why even in the introduction of every episode of this podcast, we say artists and creatives of all types, because a lot of people who are maybe just getting into creating, they, don't want to label themselves as an artist for one reason or another. And I think they want to be creative, but see themselves as something different. And perhaps the artist you just described is kind of in that camp. I don't know. Is he a self-described artist? I
think he would call himself an artist, at least at this point. I think calling yourself an artist is probably one of the scariest, most intimidating things that artists go through.
At least in this country.
Yeah, maybe certainly in a more metaphorical and less like literal like fear. But yeah, I was definitely that way for a while. Where you're like, yeah, I draw, I do it all the time, but I'm not an artist.
Yep.
Like, until you kind of learn, no matter how good you are, how good you think you are, you see an artist who you think is like, wow, that's the greatest realism drawer or painter I've ever seen in my life. And you ask them, they're like, oh yeah, I also like doubt every single painting I've ever made in my life. Like, I think it's awful. And you're like, but you're the best thing I've ever seen.
Yes.
But why are you so like not confident in yourself? So you kind of realize like almost every artist, every good artist really, is like not confident in themselves. The artists who are too confident in themselves, you're like kind of suspicious
They're
of.
the hacks.
You're like, wait, why are you so confident? Like, you should hate yourself.
It's imposter syndrome. It's imposter syndrome.
Oh, for sure.
And, you know, I went through the same thing where when I started to become a filmmaker, I'm like, well, I'm not a painter, so I'm not an artist. How could I be an artist? I don't work in that medium. And then as I got older and I realized like, oh, shit, art is way more complex than that.
Yeah, and sometimes people will like, you know, tell me how good I am at drawing, and I, like in my head I'm still like, I can't really draw anything that's 3-dimensional. Like, I only draw 2D stuff. I don't draw shading or lighting or like so many other like elements, but like it's still art, you know, and you do it a lot and you kind of accept yourself over time. You're like, oh, I guess I am an artist. It's definitely scary though, because human nature is to compare yourself, and you immediately compare yourself to the best things you've ever seen.
How could you not? Right?
So you're like, I've made a short film. Like, I'm not Quentin Tarantino or whoever else you think is a great filmmaker. So like you immediately go to those places, but like you just remember that even the best people, they doubt themselves all the time, and that's kind of why they're good. If
I think that's healthy.
Keeps you humble, you know.
It is. I always give people 2 bits of advice. Write things down so you don't forget it, or it's, you know, driving you crazy inside your head.
Wait, let me just write that down.
Go ahead. Thank you. And then the second is don't compare yourself to others, because I've done the same thing as a filmmaker. I'm like, oh, fuck, this filmmaker that I worship made this film by this age. I haven't done that. It's never going to happen. And then you keep yourself from doing things because, you know, you're comparing yourself to what others did.
Yeah, I mean, when I was growing up and got like really into music, I was like really into Jimi Hendrix, which I still love Jimi Hendrix, and he died, and he was 2 years younger than I am now, and I've never even once played Woodstock, like not even a little bit.
Not even Woodstock 99.
I didn't play the Monterey Pop Festival. I didn't play Isle. Like, not a single festival Jimi Hendrix played have I played yet.
Yes.
So like by that bar, I'm not doing that.
Why even play guitar again?
I haven't recorded like 3 really great albums or like a live album. But like that's why you shouldn't compare yourself to other artists, specifically Jimi Hendrix or any other artist. I mean, a little bit. It's good to like compare yourself in maybe a more strategic way, and you're like, they're doing these kind of events, maybe I should try doing those kind of events, or they do those mediums, what if I tried those mediums? Like, there's certainly a healthy way to do it, but it can very easily become overwhelming where you're like, why even create when everything else is so great? But like, I'm more interested in the stuff that sucks. Like, art that's bad, that's the good art, for a lot of what I like. So
speaking of art that's bad, I know you're a huge fan of AI art.
Yeah, I'm glad you pegged me on that, because artistic imagination AI art is the best. Actually, a coworker of mine today she was trying to show me like this. She's like, oh, it's so cool, look at this ChatGPT stuff I put my dog in, and like, this is my work self. Like,
Did you slap her phone out of her hands?
No, like my work self is like the, you know, non-confrontational, we're keeping it chill, like I'm not trying to ruin anyone's day. So I was just like, oh yeah, there's lots of stuff on the internet, it's so neat. like not like I didn't want to be negative and like tell her all the terrible things, ruin her day. Like, that would have just been kind of mean. Like, she's already gonna do it regardless. But yes, I am very much against artificial intelligence art, and I've changed my opinion over time in why I think it is bad. Of course, there are the data centers with all the energy and the pollution and all that stuff. That's terrible, of course. The thing that actually might concern me the most is the stealing of imagination of the next generation of potential artists. We are training all these people that they don't need to use their imagination, that we have a substitute for imagination, and it'll just do the work for you. So like, say we had another potential Jimi Hendrix who was gonna, you know, play incredible guitar. We're kind of stealing that from ourselves, saying like, they can just rely on this thing and not do the work that will create this incredible artist. So I feel like it's a shame we're like robbing ourselves of this incredible culture that could be just by like outsourcing it to technology, which is, I think, really sad.
That's a good point that I don't think I've heard discussed regarding AI art. Do you think that maybe the rapid growth of AI art in this country, at least, is at least partially connected to maybe this country not being supportive of the arts in general, and that's why it's so easy to get behind something like that?
I think that's part of it. I think it's like a huge multi-pronged issue. Of course, a big part of it is it gives access to wealthy, capitalists without, like, they don't have to pay trained labor. Like, it gives them kind of trained labor for free. Of course, you could say it's not quite the same quality, but like maybe someday it will be. So it kind of takes out this, the artist, the middle person that they would have to pay, compensate, give credit, things like that. So now it's just theirs and they can say and do whatever they want with it. So it really does make me sad. I was putting a lot of energy into like calling out AI online and stuff and on social media. And after a while, I was like, I don't know, is it worth my energy, my mental health, all these things to call it out all the time? And I told that to a friend and he was like, no, I like when you do it. And I was like, okay, then I'm just going to keep doing it.
I'm glad you brought that up, man, because, a lot of people feel the way you do, but will not speak up. And it pisses me off because it touches upon several things you discussed in this conversation where, we don't do this for a business, but I think largely what happens is this world, this country, we have so few opportunities for artists, right? And even though we don't like how a lot of these things are, many artists are too afraid to speak out against it for fear of retaliation, for losing those few sacred, resources and opportunities they're trained to seek, and they don't want to lose that. And it's like, at the end of the day, for me, not speaking out is a silent acceptance and allowance of it to continue. So you're doing the right thing by speaking out.
I definitely understand why some people don't speak out, and I would say I'm maybe, if you want to say, guilty of not speaking about certain other things because it could be damaging to my reputation and getting jobs and things like that. But in general, I think it's the more important thing to do, and I'm not at a level where I'd be getting giant jobs anyway. That's really cost me anything at this point. And if anything, I think it's the more popular opinion among artists and creatives. So it's not like I'm really going against the grain in that sense. Like, of course, it is going against big business who has all the money, but it's not going against like a large segment of the population who actually doesn't want these things.
We have all the evidence that it's been trained on stolen artworks and medical records and shit like that too, which is like, unknowingly to the patients or their families, depending what it is. And I think it's really shameful that we have organizations in the Valley that are getting behind that, or organizations that claim to be in support of the arts and artists.
Yeah, that was one of my least favorite things when like I find arts organizations that are like pro generative AI. It's like I can, rationalize and wrap my head around like some giant, financial company using it or this or that, but it's like it feels personal. It feels like they're betraying me to my face. Like, we put on the arts, like I'm friends with a lot of the other artists, and you're like slapping us in the face saying like, oh, like we're pretending to support you, but like not really.
Well, and I think you're being too nice. I think they need to be named. Should we name them? I'll name them JuxtaHub. JuxtaHub's a big offender of it, which I'll say this. We have a lot of friends, artists who are there at JuxtaHub. And, I think a reason that we don't want to speak out is because we don't want those artists to get stuck in the middle of it. But at the same time, I think a place like JuxtaHub has a great opportunity to be this new kind of nucleus for creative arts, and it instead is taking this this low-hanging fruit version of to where technology meets art. And in my opinion, AI, it's not this new cutting-edge thing that especially arts organizations are describing it as. We all knew this was coming. And it's devaluing what they claim to be standing for. And you have artists there who want to speak out against it, but can't.
Yeah, I do feel weird about the artists who have like studios and stuff there, because it's like obviously they don't want to rub any, like they might not agree with it, but they don't want to rub anyone the wrong way. Like, sure, they paid to be there and stuff. I'm not of the opinion that all AI in every single application is wrong, unethical, not useful. If anything, I feel like it's a shame that AI is probably like a super impressive technology that we happen to use for the stupidest, unproductivest things.
Well fucking put, man. It's a great tool, but being used for the wrong things.
It's like we could, what if we just, of course, like some medical research is being done, but like think about all the incredible like medical, technologies we could develop with AI and things like that.
That's primarily where it should be focused right now.
But yeah, I mean, it definitely does not make me happy that they are supporting and using AI. There was like some local market, Belleville Market. Of course, I don't want to come after any arts organization or any small business in the Lehigh Valley and like shame them. What I want is like just an apology, changed behavior, saying, sorry, we made a mistake. We're informed now. Like, I am not foreclosing any arts organizations.
Correct.
I want them to thrive. I want them to live.
If more than anything, this is just an open discussion. That's all it is.
Yeah, I just want them to feel like, we're respecting each other equally. Like, you're respecting the artists and I'm respecting the arts organizations. And I've felt a little disrespected from that. There was also some, like, philanthropy organization that partners with the Allentown Art Museum, and it's not the Allentown Art Museum, it's like a technically separate organization, and they were using AI to like promote their events where they were raising money for the arts. So I ended up having a conversation with the lady who was doing it, and she said she would stop doing it, and we like kind of made our points, and I understand where she was coming from. She was like, well, I was only doing it so that we could raise more money for the arts, which would be, like a means to an end, like the greater good, which I understand. Like it does kind of make sense when you put it that way. But I was like, let's still like, why don't we just still support artists to like support, like, do this. I actually have a coworker she's semi-retired, like graphic designer who has like a thing where she will make free graphics for any nonprofit in the Lehigh Valley. So there's like people out there who will
there's a
help
bunch
with
of those
things like
artists.
that.
So it's just an excuse. It's laziness.
Yeah, it is. And I understand like volunteer organizations, you only have so much time and effort and things like that. But it's like, the thing is, posters were made for 100 plus years. I don't know when posters were invented, without AI.
We have to ask the poster
and they
king.
were perfectly fine. Like, people made flyers who weren't artists.
Yes.
Like, it existed.
Yes.
That happened. It's not like suddenly we need to make posters and this has never happened before. Like, people made posters. They didn't have to look great. It was just fine.
What drives me crazy about the whole AI art thing are these people that say, oh, it's this new tool, you just don't get it. Like, that drives me crazy. It's like, there's such an arrogance, that stance, as if that person is so much more well-informed and intelligent, and you're just this caveman that doesn't get it. And it's like, no, my opinion is I just think it's bad. I think it's lazy. I think we should do it differently. You don't spin it in some way that if I don't understand, I'm just a fucking idiot.
I've heard a lot of the, like, calculator argument where it's like, when calculators were invented, people were afraid that like no one would know how to do math anymore. But I don't necessarily, I feel like that's not the most genuine, like, one-to-one kind of argument, because I think AI is like significantly, more advanced than
It's
a calculator.
so
like,
different.
obviously you need to know how to put things in with a calculator and use that, and like that's just a substitute. Like, I don't know, it substitutes a process that you probably already know how to do. AI like makes something that you could take you hours, like hundreds of hours, thousands of hours. I don't know. Like, of course, math could take you a while as well, but like, I really don't think it's the same thing. And I'm sure I could make a better argument if I had like the time to sit down and actually write it out. But I am on a podcast drinking PBR right now. So like,
This
maybe
is a drinking episode.
Let's not like get to my most like incredible arguments at the moment. Like, let's just do this.
I haven't heard the calculator one. The one that I hear the most often is like, oh, people said the same thing about when photography came along. Paintings would no longer be a thing. And it's like, you can't compare them. This is completely fucking different. Paintings weren't replaced by photography. It was its own medium of art. AI art is there to replace.
I mean, with AI, you could just make an entirely fake photo of things that have all never existed. Like photography, you at least need to see the thing that
Correct.
exists in some form somewhere.
When people ask me, are you worried about AI? And I say yes. And like, why? My response every time is, we couldn't even handle social media. What the fuck are we going to do with AI? And now look at the early days of AI. We already can't tell what's real and what's not real as far as news stories.
Oh my God. Social media. I was thinking a lot about social media before I got over here because I'm not going to get into it because this is a recorded podcast, but this big drama with some artists in Philadelphia dropped recently, and some people are getting very heated, and it's all just like someone made a thing on social media and other people are reacting to it. And I feel like, and I'm guilty of this myself, like we need to step back and remember that social media and the internet is not real life.
It's not real.
People will say things on the internet that they would never say in
Correct.
real life to
Correct.
anyone. And all kinds of other just opinions, purity testing, things like that exist in these online spaces that don't exist in real life. And it's easy to forget that because a lot of times, when we're tired or bored, we look at the internet because it's an easy way to get our attention.
It's just there.
But
it's there. It's a swipe of your finger and you got everything.
We get, and even people who I don't know, agree with me on certain things, social media, even if we don't always notice, it wants us to be angry. It wants us to be upset. So it
You're
pushes
engaged.
those things. So if you're angry, it's doing its job. It
Yeah.
likes that. So you have to remember that's not real.
I know what post you're talking about, and they mention stuff about us, which, that's what is mentioned in there is so far from the fucking truth. And of course, no one takes the time to find out what's real and what's not.
I mean,
And you're right, nobody will come to me or anyone else in this organization and find out, but they'll take it as fact and then repeat it to other people, which is, it's like a whisper
Yeah.
down the alley, but try to destroy society version.
I understand, and because it starts with passion. It starts with I'm passionate about something. I want to help something good.
Yes.
But then it ends up kind of being bad because, and this is largely an internet issue. It happens other places too. We cut out all nuance. It is great sometimes to look at things black and white because it helps us. It makes it easy. It makes
Yes.
it easy where there's a good, there's a bad.
Yep.
It's so nice and clean cut. We love that. But that's not how it is. No person is 100% good, 100% bad. It's not that way. So people get real angry really quickly, decide to take sides, but it's we've all jumped down this person's throat before we heard anything other context
yeah.
and all the other stuff. So
Well, and the thing is, too, I mean, for me, it's all quite performative. And I think it's a show of I'm more on the right side than you are, and I'm going to prove it.
I was actually kind of saying this to someone because it's you want to prove you're on the right side or else you might be fed to that same
Correct.
monster. Because
Correct.
then you're going to be the one who's crucified and eaten up. It's I have to prove I'm on the right side so I don't get eaten myself.
Absolutely. And that's, the left has this fucking disgusting inability to get it together, and it's the left eating itself. And this is why conservatives keep winning.
Hey, let's not start our statements with "this is why the left is terrible." Yes,
I'm a part of the left, and I'm saying
a
that.
leftist too. Yeah, we all know. Let's start with that. Leftists we can say stuff about the left.
Fuck
If we
yeah.
don't say that first, then we're just anyone. But yeah,
Fuck Trump.
it's certainly that is an issue specifically with leftist issues is purity testing of who is more right and who's this and that. And
Well, it's
a shame.
It's almost like another round of cancel culture because, when cancel culture was sweeping the country, I would talk to artist friends from around the country, and it's no independent music or art scene anywhere was free of this. And I remember back in those days, 2016, 2017, when you can still on Facebook, you could see on the invite who was going to a show before they changed it to it's just who's on your friends list and you can see, right? We used to get messages. The alternative gal would get messages saying, I see this person said they're attending this event, and if they come to that show, you support this or that terrible thing. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
They came to your event.
If
not their
someone comes to a show here, what am I supposed to vet them before they come in? Look, if we see some shit happening, we're gonna fucking handle it, right?
Yeah.
But people say if this person steps foot in that building, you're in support of this, and it's how can you ever do anything with those kinds of measurements thrown at you? And I think it really hurt the arts, which the arts already weren't doing well in this country.
It's a real shame because we want to put our energy towards the actual goals, the actual
Yes.
of who we want, to be against or whatever, we end up fighting ourselves
Yes.
because
That was my point about
that's
the
just
left,
how it goes,
before I attacked
unfortunately.
myself.
Yeah. I don't want to be one of those podcasts, like those people on the left.
But I have to say, though, to me, it's just another bump in the road. I think overall we'll get to the right place, and I think that there will be a bigger support of the arts. And you're seeing it, there's a massive rise against AI art. People are not in support of it. They're not in support of these corporations are clearly just trying to take advantage of it and save some money. And you're discounting those who have been trying to work and survive off this. And it's like, one of my other things about AI art is AI never would have just made art on its own conceptually, because it's how can a machine dream that up?
How can a machine be like some sweaty guy in a basement who's like may or may not be on drugs, who like is seeing stuff and he's
sure.
like got all these markers and like things like that would never happen, and like, oh, maybe they've had a lot of snacks that night. Like, we're just throwing in extra details, but like it's not a human. I mean, I don't know. We can get really philosophical, but I'll probably lose my vocabulary to be able to like participate in a good discussion.
But I think overall we will move in the right direction. And you see a lot of like events and festivals and stuff like that banning AI art and really getting behind these creators.
I mean, I think there's a lot of things to be excited about in arts these days. Like, obviously, it's always easy for whatever you're doing to focus on the bad stuff. But like, I see lots of exciting things of young people getting involved in maybe art scenes that maybe before were restricted to people in bars or things like the older people. And there's a lot of interesting things in music, band, film. Like, it's more niche, and you have to maybe search some of these things out, but there are a lot of really cool things going on.
I think everything is niche now, because like Weird Al, he had I love Weird Al, and he had a great interview a few months ago where he said, I don't really do parody songs anymore. And he said the reason why, when I started back in the 80s, everybody watched MTV. Everybody knew what the popular songs were. But now with the internet, everything is so niche, which is great for listeners and it's great for artists, but there's no real like through pop culture anymore in that sense. So it's very difficult for him to make these parody songs. And I was like, wow, that actually is a very meaningful statement.
I mean, that's true. I certainly know like most of the big pop stars of today, but being that I don't listen to the radio, like occasionally I might hear something at a store, but like I have no exposure to like the top 10 charts if I don't want to go out of my way and listen to it. So I definitely agree with that. I mean, something of like major culture that I can think of off the top of my head is that Demon Hunters movie, which I didn't even watch, but maybe I should.
Well, K-pop
the
Demon
K-pop
Hunters,
Demon Hunters. I know that was like a big deal. But yeah, like there are certain things that are going to be always like more popular, like the Super Bowl or things. But like, yeah, everyone can go off into their own little niche segment on the internet, or like there's so many more things available, which is great. But it does, come with some other caveats and issues.
Yeah. I mean, the balance has always changed depending what pieces you move and what you don't. I think what's going to happen overall, and we're starting to see happen, though, is because of people turning against the internet and wanting more physical spaces and turning against streaming services like Netflix and Spotify for a number of reasons. What I'm seeing happening with college-age kids and high school kids are like CDs are coming back in a huge way. MP3 players are coming back in a huge way. I think it's going to lead to a resurgence in really small brick and mortar stores for like records and movies, and you're starting to see, I think, the very beginnings of it with like these card stores, like Pokemon cards and things that. And like people don't want to go online. And if you are thinking about starting one of these stores, or you do start one of these stores, there's one central bit of advice I have for you. Don't fucking charge eBay prices. If you're going to charge eBay prices, I'm going to stay at home and go on eBay. Give me a reason to come into the store.
Do you collect Pokemon cards? Or are you talking about like movies and stuff?
Anything. Anything. Like video game stores and record stores are the worst with it, right? Mm-hmm. We had a legendary record store which closed in December 2024 here in Allentown called Double Decker Records. Yeah. Genuinely one of the best record stores in the East Coast of the United States. And he had a very different philosophy. He did not price things at eBay prices. He priced things at I wanted to move prices. Mm-hmm. Where I would often buy so many of the records sitting here on my shelves here are from Double Decker Records, where it might be a $15 record on eBay, but he has it for $5. And his philosophy was, I paid 25 cents for it, or I paid $1 for it. I'm making my money, and I'm trying to move it because next week I know I got 3,000 more records coming to that door. And that's what you need. That gives people incentive. That's why people would fly from Europe and Japan and all around the world to come shop at Double Decker Records. It gave people a reason. And that people think, oh, the market rate. First of all, any market rate, it's all made up. There's no such thing. We just made it the fuck up.
I like that you brought up these, you could say, older forms of media, because I was also thinking of like the last many years, vinyl has had a large resurgence, and I now own 4 cassette tapes. I had no idea how to play a cassette until last year.
That's awesome.
And now I own some cassettes, and like my friends are putting stuff out on that, and like, yeah, there definitely is a resurgence of like having physical things, and this is the perfect time to shout out my friend William H. Travis, and also like my friends Mel, Leo, Wyatt, and some other people. We are all working on this once a month analog, on paper, little mini newsletter. It's called the Bethlehemite. And it has like a list of different music and art events going around in Bethlehem. Hopefully we will expand to Allentown, Easton at some point, but we're starting just in Bethlehem, keeping it small and local. At the moment, they are available at Lit Coffee in Bethlehem and at what's the other place? What's the CD store in Bethlehem called?
The Compact Disc Center.
Compact Disc Center. I'm glad you knew that.
Yeah.
So it's like the same motivation as we're talking about, like getting offline, being in person with other people. And I think there is a strong desire and need for that. And it's cool to see people supporting old media. I have over 500 CDs myself. I haven't bought CDs in many years at this point, really. But there is something, I don't know, like obviously, like I go back and forth between liking owning things and not liking owning too many things. But there is like this primal nature of like just collecting stuff and having the things you like. So it is like nice that I have all these CDs and I like them.
No, I think everyone should build their own library. No matter what it is that you like, movies or music or games, like have your things on a shelf. It just makes you feel good.
At least some of like the best ones, like, you don't need to have everything, but
Correct.
like, in case backups, just
you
in
don't
case.
need my office worth of shit. I mean, it's a little overkill to some people.
I'll take 75%.
Yeah. I'm just trying to give, somewhat good advice, not great advice. But I mean, that zine sounds awesome. And for me, I think this is an era of recalibration where we're starting to be reminded that just because there are new technological achievements or tools doesn't necessarily mean that one thing is automatically obsolete. And that's what we're rediscovering right now. Even though we have, online newsletters and websites and things like that, it doesn't mean a printed zine is any less needed.
Yeah, I have plenty of friends who go see like tons of old films on reels and stuff. And like, I think that's so cool when people are just into, there's so much, obviously great new art is awesome.
Yeah.
Like we love new things, but like there's so much great old stuff that we just lose touch with. And technology definitely, we don't always see how it changes us, and when we see like things from older generations, kind of reminds us like how things used to be. We didn't used to have, and I didn't even grow up this way really, where like every second of your attention was taken by something. Like people just like sat around and smoked cigarettes all day and like didn't do anything, but that was just how you lived. But I know I didn't grow up that way, but like I kind of envy, like sometimes when I see a movie, I'm like, man, I kind of wish like I didn't even know what a phone was. Like there was nothing calling my attention. Like everything just existed wherever you were.
I know.
And that just was it.
I know. That's why I spent a lot of my year last year, 2025, out in nature. And I mean, it's so good for the mind, for the soul, man, everything. And it's a reminder of like, man, you need to just kind of get the fuck away sometimes. And because like in America, I think we have this feeling that if you're not always constantly busy, you're worthless. What are you here for? Yeah,
in college, we had to read this book called Present Shock. There used to be this thing called future shock, like you were like overwhelmed by the things that
Yeah, I
were
had
going to
that
happen in
buckets
the
over
future.
there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Douglas Rushkoff.
I think so.
I only know that because like he has the same first name as me, so
Douglas.
I remembered it.
You know all the Dougs.
But like it was about how like now because your phone and your texts and your emails, like they just pile up right as they go, and you're so keenly aware, like you're overwhelmed by what's happening now all the time. And yeah, like getting out into art, like remembering that you're just like a part of nature. You're not just like some cog in some crazy society that's been imagined for hundreds of years. Like you're the same as like a plant or like an animal. You're like kind of like a rock. You're a little different than a rock because like rocks aren't alive. But like I'm a little rockish, like sometimes.
Well, we touched upon a lot of good stuff here, but any closing advice you'd like to give maybe for artists who are starting out, or maybe even artists who are going through a creative block?
Going through a creative block, I tend to like to sometimes like I go back to things that are very familiar to me, like maybe something I haven't done in a long time. Like I started only drawing really small drawings, and then later on I started doing a little bit bigger, not huge, but like full piece of paper drawings. And now I do more like paintings and some drawings and stuff. Sometimes if I'm stuck, like I want to go back to something really simple, like where I started, where it's just like a simple pun drawing or just like a little object or something. In general, I think a good piece of artist advice is don't necessarily do what I do, where you feel pressured to create all the time. Like, if anything, I'm learning it's better not to create every day sometimes. Like sometimes you just need to not create, helps you recharge, see other things, do stuff. So don't feel like when you see on the internet, like some people put out art like every day or like a few times a week, like that shouldn't be your benchmark. Certainly I can be guilty of that sometimes myself, but like whenever you put out art, like think about Leonardo da Vinci. That guy probably put out like one painting every few years. Like they took a really long time, but like they didn't put out that many things. Like take your time. It's all good. And also just obviously have fun with it, experiment, create. Obviously that's nothing revolutionary, but like you should be doing art because it's fun and not because like it's a chore. Like that's what it is. It's play. It's experimenting. It's something cool.
That is excellent advice, my friend. Do you have any upcoming events that you want to talk about?
Sure. So this weekend, I have like a bunch of things. Of course, I did see it might snow on Sunday, apparently. Like it might
another
snow
rough
a lot.
weekend of weather here.
But Saturday, I have art in like a thing in Easton at this... I probably should know the name. It's like it's a non-alcoholic bar from 2 to 5 that I will have my art featured in, along with a bunch of other artists. It's also like a vegan potluck and karaoke. It's a very eclectic event. And then the evening, I will be at the Ice House in Bethlehem for the WCK show, which I will be vending some art there. And then Sunday, I will be in Phoenixville for the Phoenixville Punk Rock Flea Market, which may or may not be canceled from snow. Yeah, I mean, I have like a bunch of commission projects. Like off the top of my head, I'm vending a few times. I'm also vending on, I think it's the day after Valentine's Day, the 15th in Ardmore at the Ardmore Music Hall for the Funky Brunch.
Super cool.
But yeah, you can just find me on the internet and like send me memes if you want. Like that's cool too.
And we'll include that information in the show notes, especially for the stuff coming up this weekend for any of those who are interested. Once again, we've been chatting with Doug Trachtman, a pop artist, and the self-described Sharpie King from Lehigh Valley. You can check out Doug's work on Instagram at LavaLampBebop. He's always putting out tons of cool stuff, so keep an eye on what he's up to. Doug, thanks so much for coming out to the Art Bazaar, buddy.
Thanks for having me. I had a blast.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to play you
We need some sound effects.
Oh, my God, I totally forgot. Hold on. What do we got here?
Yeah, we've had an in-studio audience the entire time.
Yeah, we just had to
asked them
mute
to
it.
be quiet. And there's also a cricket here is part of the audience.
That's what we heard the whole time. Tell me a joke, real quick. Any joke. The cornier, the better.
What does a dog eat at the movies?
What?
Popcorn. Gotcha. That's like one of the few jokes I have on hand.
Oh, so bad, but great. Doug, this was awesome, buddy. Thank you so much. We're going to bring you back on for a group episode in the near future, if you're down for such a thing.
Again, this is the whole, engagement ring on the mound in the baseball game. But yeah, I'm down.
That's if the AI art police don't come and swoop us off the streets.
That's true. Like, honestly, I'm 100% on some government lists based on the stupid things I like on the internet. I'm just wondering, like, when that's going to catch up to me.
If you're not an enemy of this White House, what are you actually fucking doing?
Like, go out, get on some government lists. I mean, come on. It's not that hard. Make a few statements. They don't even have to be that specific. You don't need to get arrested right away. Just get on some lists.
Not right away, just eventually.
CIA, FBI, NSA, there's lots of them.
And Doug, when you leave, I'm going to point out the van that's parked across the street that very much looks like it's the FBI or ICE watching this building. And I've been slowly documenting every one that looks like that, and I'm pretty sure ICE is watching this building because of all the shit that I say online. So
let's get them on the podcast.
Let's go knock over. Let's go over there and knock and say hello.
ICE out of Allentown, out of the U.S.
There's a sticker for you.
Ooh, nice. I love a sticker.
Well, Doug, thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate everything. And if you're enjoying the Art Bazaar podcast, please help us grow by liking and subscribing to the podcast. We want to reach a worldwide audience to help bring attention to all of the amazing creators and unique folks we bring on. They certainly deserve it. And that's all for now. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on Art Bazaar.
All right, for the second take, let's do it a little differently.
Okay, let's do the whole thing over.
We'll do funny accents this time.
And we forgot to talk shit about Arts Quest.
Oh yeah, next episode.
The whole episode is going to be dedicated to Arts Quest next time.